This is Marius from the Trademate Sports podcast, and with me I have
Alex, here for another podcast. Exciting times. Been some good feedback lately on the podcast, which has been nice.
Yeah.
We'll kick things off, as always, with the quiz question of the week. So, bit of a decade theme. So, we are coming to the end of a decade of Premier League football. So, I've gone with an interesting quiz question this week. If we look back a decade ago to the 09-10 season, who won and who made the top four? It's a quite interesting answer that I found.
Okay, well, I will need to think a bit about that one. I definitely know Liverpool wasn't in the top four, but...
you don't want to know where they were.
Alex, you want to kick it off with Arsenal versus City this week?
Oh, mate, what else would you want to talk about other than another brilliant Arsenal performance? Oh, mate, it was quite sad, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was just like, I don't know if you watched the game, but like the first 30 seconds, I was like, oh my God, we nearly scored in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be a great performance, especially after we got the win against West Ham. I was like, oh, we might have turned a corner, but then got a very rude shock about a minute later when De Bruyne smashed in that brilliant goal. He was superb, De Bruyne, just off the top. Yeah. Before we talk about Arsenal, like, he is sensational. As I was watching the game, I was like, surely if you picked like your best world 11, he'd have to be in there as your like centre attacking midfielder.
He is insane. Yeah.
I couldn't think of anyone better than him, really.
I mean, that right foot of his is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And he can use his left too pretty good. So just overall, fantastic player.
I think it was his left off for the second goal.
Okay, he uses both feet. That's part of what makes him so amazing. When I think about it, I'm not sure whether he's actually right-footed or left-footed because he shoots so good with both of them. So it's tricky to know. I'm pretty sure Football Manager has him down as either. So I'm excused because that's where I get my facts from.
It definitely was the left foot. I remember now because he was peeling off the right and coming. It was off the left. He's sensational. Man City are very lucky to have him. If he ever leaves the club, I'm sure he will leave with a hefty price tag because I think he's one of the best in the world at the moment.
That save that Leno had on his last shot, which should have deserved to complete the hat-trick because it was just an amazing shot. And I was sure it just hit the post, but Leno actually saved it. So that was pretty good. Yeah,
Leno's very good, mate. He just doesn't get the raps he deserves because he's sitting in behind an atrocious Arsenal defence. Yeah. And I feel very sorry for him. I mean, his career is not getting the plaudits he deserves right now just because of the defence he's sitting behind. So shout out to Leno, mate. Hope you can stay with us for a long, long time because you are doing a great job. I think he's up there with, some of the best keepers in the league now. Like, probably not as good as Alisson and Emerson, but I think he's just about next best. I'm trying to think of who else is around. You've got Kepa. You've got De Gea. Yeah, so I think he's right up there with them, if not, surpassing them at the moment. The way he's been playing lately, he's been very good. He's probably been our best player all season. Yeah.
Fun fact, Leno has the most saves in the Premier League this year.
Exactly. I mean, it's not a good fact for Arsenal, but it shows that he is doing his job, mate, and he has definitely, although as bad as we're going, he saved us a lot of points. Yeah. Which is sad to say. But yeah, mate, the game was quite tragic yesterday. I thought in defence to start off the game in the first half, we actually weren't too bad in attack. I can tell that our attack's gotten better under Freddie, so I'll give him a shout out there. Like, he has made some improvements there, but the defence is, if not worse than it's ever been. Like, I just cannot believe the ease at which Man City worked through our defence on the transition, especially for all of the goals. It was just like they counter-attacked us, they got the ball back, counter-attacked us, and it was just like, it was so easy. I could name, for that first goal, I could probably name you 5 Arsenal players who just did not do their job from the front line to the defensive line. It's not like the Socrates or Chambers. Like, obviously they're at fault, but it starts with the likes of Pepe and they're not tracking back. The likes of Guendouzi, who just literally I don't know who the player was, but let him slide right past him. Yeah. Ainsley Maitland-Niles lets the next person pass, and they cross it. Socrates doesn't try and block it. And then Kolasinac when De Bruyne scored that first goal, he just didn't even really attempt to throw his head in front of the ball. It's just like, it's not one player, it's a whole unit. It's just mate, there's so much work to be done with that defence. It's a relegation defence. Like, it is an atrocious defence.
One thing I noticed was just Kolasinac positioning for the second goal, because there's one player in the box, and that's Sterling. And he's just marking air and not the player, which I just found incredible to do at this level when you play this many games. Like, if it was a Tierney or someone who's in their first season or being a teenage youngster, I would expect them to make mistakes like that. It's happened to Trent Alexander-Arnold a lot on the road, but you should be so concentrated and really know where the offensive players of the other team is, because that's the only way they'll score, is if they get the pass. So we should be trying to block the passing lane for Sterling and not just standing at the 5-yard box and marking nobody. So that was just terrible. But I'm sure if you also analyze that goal, you would find that he wasn't the only one who did a bad job in terms of positioning and everything.
And we've got a real problem now at fullback, because you've got Hector Bellerin's injured. I think he's just out for maybe another week. But then if you look to the left, both Tierney and Kolasinac are injured now. So that's why Saka came on. It's like, I felt so sorry for Saka. Like, comes on 3-0 down. He's played there once before, which was their last game in the Europa League. I just felt so sorry for him. But fair play to the young fella, 18 years old, or he might be 19 now. He held his own pretty well.
Probably just good for him to get game time, whether it's like left back or left winger. And it can't get any worse anyway, right? So
it's so sad for those youngsters like Saka, Martinelli. The list goes on. Like, if those young players that Emile Smith-Rowe, they're all coming in and they're having such a good crack, but they've just got absolutely no leadership behind them. And the greatest testament to that was the fact that when Ozil got subbed off, I hope you probably turned the TV off by then, because it was but Ozil got subbed off. I think it was the 55th or the 60th minute, and he just walked off. And it's just like, mate, you have to be kidding me. Like, you have to be kidding me. He did it last year in the Europa League final. I know, I don't care if you're 5-0 down, 10-0 down. Like, you're a leader at the club. He's one of the 5 captains that we have, which is ridiculous. That just shows how good of a choice of character Emery was, naming him as a captain. And he just walks off the pitch like we're winning 2-0 or we've got the lead or whatever. And it's just such poor leadership. And the person that he's coming off for is Emile Smith-Rowe, a youngster. Like, show some leadership and be like, mate, at this club, this is what we do. Like, if we're losing, we are doing all our best effort to try and get the win, and get it back to level. Like, and it's just such poor form from Ozil. Like, it just shows what kind of state the club's in.
Do you think Ozil will be sold this summer, or will he just sit out his very, very well-paid contract and enjoy time on the bench?
Yeah, well, that was his message at the start of the season, that he was just happy to, he's going to fight for his place kind of thing. Apparently he loves living in London. He's getting a ridiculous amount of money every week. I think it's nearly like 300 grand. £300,000 or £300,000 a week. So it sounds like he's happy. Who's going to want to buy him? He's 30. He's in his 30s now.
No one's going to want to pay him $300K a week. That's for sure. So.
Exactly, and he's not the player he used to be. That's simple as that. Yeah. He gives us something going forward in attack. Like, his positioning is superb. He gets into great areas, but his finished product, I've noticed ever since he came back into the side, like I was saying last week or the week before, his finished product is not as good as it used to be. He's lost his touch massively.
I guess that's what's sitting on the bench for 2 years. That's fair.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he did get some game time on Emery. It's not like he was sitting on the bench all last season, or like he's been in the side for like at least 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, he's a good enough player to come back in. He should have his touch back by now. I just think maybe he doesn't care. / he's getting older.
He never was the most hardworking attacking midfielder in the history of football either.
That's the other issue too. Like, he's so open that he doesn't he's obviously not the biggest hardest worker out there. But at least, like, when you get the chance, when you come off, like, show some attitude at least, and, like, just run off the pitch and, like, show that we're actually look like we're trying to. I mean, if I was a Manchester City player and I saw him, you know, walking off the pitch like that, I'd be like, oh, Arsenal know they have literally no chance at, you know, getting back into this game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then Emile Smith-Rowe comes on and he's brilliant straight away. Like, he's finding space, beautiful runs, trying his hardest. Like, I don't want to see him in the team. I don't even care anymore, even if he's the better player to have in there. Like, they just need an attitude shake-up, if anything.
I think also, like, this season looks like it's going to be a write-off for Arsenal pretty much. There's not that many points up to Chelsea, but seeing them, like, catch up, highly unlikely. Yeah. Even with the other teams, like both United and Spurs look to be in a better spot. So if anyone's going to challenge Chelsea, it will most likely be them.
Yeah.
So it would just be much better to play the youngsters and 100%. Give them game time, because they're the ones who are going to be there for the next 5-10 years. And just give them a chance instead, because these old guys like Ozil, they're going to be gone and done anyway. So might as well start playing with all of the youngsters. Really.
Exactly. And they're showing a lot more passion.
Yeah.
The others are. Like, if it was me, I'd be cleaning out the likes of, you know, Louise, Ozil, mate, the list goes on, Socrates. Like, they're all like, just, it's not even worth playing them anymore, I don't think. I'd like to see these youngsters get a chance, like you were saying. I mean, if you did that, our squad would look very young. Like, Torreira's and Guendouzi's are still, like, well under, you know, in their early 20s. So I just want to see some leadership. Like, there just doesn't seem like when we go down 2-0, 1-0, like, it's not like, yes, come on, let's get back and let's try and get back in the game. It's just like, oh, crap, again.
Yeah, a funny thing about leadership, because that's a complaint that people often have about football teams. In this case, it's probably right. Like the examples you mentioned with Ozil and everything is totally fine. But it was also something that Liverpool was accused for before they started winning, that Henderson wasn't a proper captain, there's not enough leaders in this team.
Yeah.
And then I read someone who posted an article from, I think it was like 1924 or something. And I think it was about Arsenal. And they said that there's not enough leaders in this team. So I think that in general, it's one of the like big myths. But then I'm talking more about needing to have that very vocal guy who's like out there and screaming at everyone on the team. But basic stuff as leading by example, by like running off when you're not winning, that's a whole nother level, because that's just professionalism, I think, to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, look at the 5 captains we've got. I think Ozil, Xhaka, Aubameyang, Lacazette. It's just like none of those names really stand out to me as.
So it's like, let's name all of our star players as captains to keep them happy.
yeah, exactly. And they barely, like, or they all mostly struggle to get into the team. The only, like, sure pick is like Aubameyang. So
yeah, I also found it interesting. Phil Foden got a start yesterday, and he looked pretty bright. He's way faster than what I expected. I haven't just seen glimpses of him earlier, but I think it was it the shot that Leno saved, where Foden like dribbled past 2 players and then De Bruyne just shut it off? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That was a very good move by Foden.
De Bruyne's second goal he set up, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And he set up the save, like you said. So, yeah, I mean, I said it last week. I said I reckon it's a good move for Pep to just bring in a young player like Foden, put the likes of Gundogan, Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez all on notice and be like, well, this kid's good. He can take your spot at any time you like.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a shake-up there.
And I guess we'll see how it plays out, but maybe Bernardo Silva will be the direct heir to David Silva. But Phil Foden also looks like he could be like that replacement for the next 5-10 years.
He's a bit more central too, isn't he? Like a bit more of a central player.
Exactly. Since given that Silva's like played on the right wing during times this year. So right now it's looking like Foden might be the natural replacement. So it'll be interesting to see how much game time he gets. Also, 2 more things I want to touch upon quickly for that game. And one is, that was a very ugly tackle, I thought, from Rodri on Kolasinac, which injured him. Like just another typical professional foul from City that ended up injuring a player. So good that he at least got the yellow card, but I would find it very, very annoying with if those sort of tackles happen to my players.
Yeah, funny you say that, because Rodri and Gundogan throughout the whole game, they're kind of masters at those like fouls that are just not yellow cards.
Yeah.
But the problem is that they're so repetitive that it's like you think the referee should, like if he sees 2 of them in a row, be like, okay, that equals a yellow.
Yeah.
Like 2 close yellows equals 1 yellow. So, and they did that throughout the whole game, and it stunted a lot of our momentum. It stunted a lot of our momentum. So it's interesting that you point that out, because I was like, oh, it's so annoying because the referee's not noticing that, then they might all be like yellow card offences, but there's so many of them and it's just ruining our momentum.
Yeah. Oh, and it is a deliberate tactic from City to do all those professional fouls, and Fernandinho is the master of this.
Yeah.
How he doesn't have the most yellow cards in the Premier League every single season he's played is beyond me, but he doesn't, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's the referee's fault at the end of the day. I mean, it's great professionalism, I think. Like, it just shows how smart you are, like reading the game and utilising those kind of tactics in your favour. So it's... Yeah. Go for it if I was them, but the referee should be picking up on that. That's their fault.
Yeah. And then finally, just you have to give a mention to Martinelli, because he is looking like some player, right? He's just very, very good.
Yeah, I just
he should play every week.
Yeah, I think he's a certain starter from now on. Our attack looks a lot better with just Aubameyang in the centre and Lacazette not having both of them in the team.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Martinelli is looking superb. The only way I could see Lacazette getting back in the team is maybe if he replaced Pepe, but I like Pepe because he's got that left foot and he can come in off the edge. I like the look of our attack. I like the look of our front three at the moment. It's just everything behind that is just up in the air.
And I think this is a classical example of playing the players who make your team the best possible and not just putting all the big names in there.
100%, yeah.
Because like skill set wise, then I would assume Lacazette is overall a better striker than Martinelli still, but he just brings something to the team and he has that like youthful energy. He presses and he harries the opposition and he is dangerous every time he gets on the ball. Yeah. You could see like how Walker was like hesitant to go in and tackle him, and
he looked frustrated too. Yeah. He put in a few fouls after that too. I was like, oh, he's frustrated. I like this. Good on Martinelli. Like, he's some player, mate. And the biggest worry is that if this downfall for Arsenal continues, like he might be like, oh well, I might have to leave this club and go play some Champions League football somewhere else. So yeah.
All right, moving on, let's talk about Manchester United.
Yes, they drew.
Who would have thought that? If only someone put that as their prediction of the week, right, Alex?
Oh, no, there's a genius sitting right next to you, mate, isn't there? No, I mean, we said this last week. We said you can't judge Ole yet, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Yeah. You just can't judge him yet because these are the games where he's been poor. Got those 2 big wins over City and Tottenham, but that's exactly. I mean, we couldn't have picked it better ourselves, mate. That's exactly what we were saying last week. Like these are the games where he has to prove himself, and he didn't prove himself. They were lucky to get away with that one. Actually, they were down 1-0 until the 78th minute, I think it was. And how about Mason Greenwood though? What a week for him! Yeah, or a couple of weeks.
Scoring 2 goals in the Europa League. And then scoring again to save a point for Solskjaer after coming off. And beautiful finish. So smart to shoot it in that corner. Goalkeeper has like his view blocked by a lot of players being in front. So it's just a very smart finish and being able to find a corner and the touch he has to set up the shot. Because that's so tricky, not like hitting the defenders there. That always happens when Liverpool are playing and they're trying to shoot from the edge of the box. It always gets blocked, but he managed to find a spot, so extremely clever. And some talent. He looks like he's now up to 7 goals this season, second most in for United behind Rashford, which is pretty crazy. I guess he's 18 now, so
he's so young. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's like the positives for the likes of Arsenal and United who aren't having these, very good seasons, is that they've got these youngsters coming through that look very, very good. Like not just like a good prospect, they look like very, very, very good prospects for the future in Martinelli and Greenwood. But it's United draw is very, very interesting. Everton have kind of turned a corner a little bit there. They've got Arsenal this Saturday, so they'll probably get another 3 points there. Happy days for Everton fans. Good time to be playing Arsenal.
I guess we could talk about the Everton goal. It's a corner that comes in and Calvert-Lewin goes into the duel, and De Gea thought he should have gotten a free kick. And whether or not it was a free kick or not. No?
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I watched the highlights this morning and I didn't even think that there was a free kick. And I'm trying to,
Yeah, well, it was, I think it was reviewed by VAR.
Okay.
And the decision was that the goal stood. And in general, I would say I didn't think it was a free kick. But mainly because goalkeepers shouldn't be these holy people who have all the protection in the world, can just claim any ball they want uncontested, because that's stupid. They should be treated as outfield players are.
Yeah, definitely.
And overall, it looked like a fair duel, but I guess you could say that Calvert-Lewin's arm was up where it shouldn't have been and maybe kept him down a little bit. I still don't think it was enough. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure I would have been annoyed at the very least if it happened to our team. So I can understand your frustration, Man United fans. But overall, I do think the goal should stand.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt sorry for Lindelof. It was kind of you can't really blame him too much, I don't think, for that own goal. He could have been a bit more switched on, but
totally expect the goalkeeper to grab that ball. But,
exactly.
I don't think Lindelof is good enough to be in Manchester United's defence.
Ooh.
So shots fired.
It's only because he's Swedish, mate, isn't it?
Well, he... no, it's not only because he's Swedish. I actually like having Scandinavian players for the top clubs.
Yeah.
I think it's fun to see that they're able to play at that level. Liverpool and United have had some pretty good Norwegians over the years, so... I totally miss having a Norwegian player at our club and having some of them play for the biggest clubs, like Joshua King's obviously playing for Bournemouth and doing quite good there. And hopefully Ødegaard will end up in the Premier League, and Haaland too, maybe. We'll discuss that a bit later. So.
Well, mate, we will move on and we can talk all about Liverpool. I was watching this game and I couldn't believe the amount of chances that were missed by Watford. It was comical. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Do they know that there's a ball there and you're supposed to kick it? It was atrocious. So I think obviously Liverpool with another good win, the streak continues, but slightly lucky.
Expected goals, most expected goals models have Liverpool at around 1.5 goals.
Yep.
And Watford at around 0.9 to 1. So I would say it was a deserved win in the end, but Ismail Assar definitely should be able to hit that ball that he missed. And apparently Mane told Troy Deeney after the game to look out for Assar because he was worried what that miss could do to his confidence. He's still only 21.
Oh, really? That's really nice.
Yeah, so he's still only 21 and a promising player, but I thought he had an absolutely terrible game. not just that one, but maybe he'll come good. But I wouldn't keep my hopes up too much about that one.
Yeah, so obviously they didn't play their best game against Watford. That's no massive call there. Do you reckon that's kind of their schedule's starting to get the best of them? Liverpool
were terrible. This is, if not the worst game, then definitely one of the worst games we've had this season.
Okay.
Struggled to create things. Mohamed Salah scored a fantastic first goal.
Yeah.
And that brought us the lead. And then Sadio Mane had a goal ruled off from VAR. I'll talk a bit about that one later, about things I'm upset about. But that was a beautiful goal and should have stood, in my view. And then Salah had a very clever finish for the last goal. So in the end, I thought it was a deserved win. But if Watford had taken their chances, then they could have gotten something away from this game. But yeah, they don't have anyone else to thank but themselves for not being able to take those chances. And that's probably why they are where they are in the league. Watford, their expected goals for and against have them bottom half but mid-table, and currently in last spot. So it is them not converting the chances they are getting, and I'm still not sure whether this is down to the quality of the players or them just being unlucky, because it was definitely down to the players yesterday that they're not able to hit the ball, and that's just like basic technical football skills which you should have at this level. And Liverpool's schedule, I mean, it's tough, but it's been the same as the rest of the teams, and our rotation over the last couple of games have been pretty good. We played very well against Everton, and we played very well against Salzburg. I guess that Salzburg game was pretty draining, but can't complain as long as we keep picking up the points, and then the play will improve. Now the players get to go off to the World Club Championship and hopefully win that. So it should be probably nice for them to get some days in the warmth and
bit of vitamin D. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a bit of vitamin D right now, mate.
It's like some training exercises. Hopefully, I don't want to be too ambitious in front, but I hope they're going to be able to win it.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule's ridiculous though, isn't it? Like the amount of games they have to play at the moment. Like, do you think that's something that needs to be changed? Like they've got the Carabao Cup on Tuesday or Wednesday night. They're obviously still in the FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League. Like this is so many games for a squad to undertake. Like, what do you think of the scheduling? Get
rid of the Carabao Cup completely. Yeah. It's totally pointless. Nobody cares. You don't win any useful money from finishing it. Like it's totally pointless.
I think you could either get rid of it, or maybe like make a rule about like clubs in the Premier League aren't allowed to use like certain players. Like it just like is just for youngsters. You
make
know
it a U23 tournament, something like that. But yeah, I mean, most of the clubs, even the mid-table and bottom-table clubs, treat it as a chance to give their reserve team players some play time. So maybe it isn't too bad with those restrictions, but it is totally pointless. And it's the most ridiculous part about it is that they played 2 semifinals. Yeah. I mean, we're not at that stage yet, but that is just... There's already such a busy schedule. Yeah. And they don't want to change it either. Of course not. They make more money by having the extra game. Yeah. But it's just ridiculous that they're not able to consider these players who have to play so many games. And then you get a pretty bad product because they're not going to play the top players in those games. So it's your own fault for scheduling it. Change it, please.
Yeah, and then you've got someone like Firmino. Just for example, like he goes through this whole season, he's basically played 5 competitions. Yeah. And then at the end, he's Brazilian, isn't he? I'm trying to think of a European player in the Liverpool team. If you can give me one, really, like a Wijnaldum, let's just say. Yeah. He then has to go at the end of the season and play the Euro 2020s. Yeah. Like, of course, these guys are making big coin. Like, they're getting lots of money for what they're doing, and they obviously love their jobs. But, like, there is a point, like, where you feel like, do they get, like, at least, a month or 2 off, like, just to relax? Like, in Australia, all our leagues are played from like March to September, October. Yeah. So these guys, although like that 5-ish months that they get off, like 3 of it, they're probably doing like off-season kind of training. Like at least they get that break away from all the hype of the media and, all that kind of stuff. So although they get the big money, I do think they deserve more of a rest.
Yeah, I mean, Mane had 2 weeks off in a year of football. Besides that, he played continuously. It affects the quality of the product too. That's part of what these organizers just don't seem to understand. If the players are tired, they're going to get injured and they're not going to play as well. So both when they are playing, the quality is going to be worse and they're going to miss games because they get injured, when instead you could have them playing every week and at a higher level. Yeah. So you're making the product worse by just having to have them perform every single week and multiple times per week. And if you think about it, like Olympic athletes train for 4 years and then one day decides whether they're going to be gold medalists or not, while football players need to be at their best for 50 plus games a season, which is just insane.
Yeah, I mean, and it also waters down the like importance of like the FA Cup, I think, because if there's two competitions, it's like, oh, which one's more important? I mean, the FA Cup's kind of been seen as the most important one to win, but like having two of them, it's like, it doesn't seem as important. Whereas if you had like the one FA Cup, like there's so much more excitement.
And make the prize money bigger.
Yeah, it'd create way much more excitement, I think. So yeah, it's something they need to look at, and I'm sure they've been looking at it for years, but Money seems to be the deciding factor as always, mate.
Yeah, it is. Football is a business. Totally understand that. But yeah, please consider the players.
Listen to us.
They are humans.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, mate, we'll move on to Chelsea. Kind of talked about this a bit a few weeks ago, how I was saying I actually said I thought they'd miss out on the Champions League because I thought their schedule was getting a bit too much. Yeah. They just snuck through. But I think that's the worst thing that could have happened to them, to be honest. I think it would have been good for them to have a smaller schedule with that young squad. And yeah, like I was saying a couple of weeks ago, I was trying to predict their downfall with that young squad and the amount of games. And it's happening. It's happened. Like they lost to West Ham a couple of weeks ago. And they just scraped past, I think it was Aston Villa last week. And now they've lost to Bournemouth, who literally going through one of the biggest injury crises you're likely to see. Yeah. So, massive win for Bournemouth, obviously. But Chelsea starting to stumble, and that top 4/top 6 race is looking very interesting.
Yeah, it's just got wide open again with Chelsea losing to Bournemouth and Tottenham winning, because now they're only 3 points behind.
Yeah.
So pretty much anything can happen now, and it's going to be a very, very interesting race. And at least there's some excitement in the league.
Yeah, definitely.
As the title looks like it's going to run away to Liverpool, but the top 4 is still open, so it's going to be a fun race to the finish line.
Yeah, so you got Chelsea in 4th on 29 points, Tottenham 26, Man United at 25, Sheffield United 25, Wolves 24.
We don't need to go any further below because that's just you can read Arsenal's score.
Yeah, Arsenal are next on 22nd in 9th place. There's probably no chance beyond that. You got Crystal Palace on 22 too, but mate, it's going to be a fascinating race for those top 4 and top 6 positions. I don't know if you saw the Chelsea game, but they probably should have at least drawn because Emerson missed an absolute sitter. Literally, I think he was 3 meters away from goal, and he headed it right to the goalkeeper.
Yeah. Yeah, he really should have been able to aim that at the nearest corner. I think that should have been an easier header for him to make than trying to... It looked like he tried to get it across. But yeah, it was a bad miss, and Chelsea won unexpected goals. So it was pretty similar to the Liverpool-Watford game, actually. I think it was 1.5 to 1.
Yeah.
And there you can see, even if you're winning unexpected goals, you don't necessarily end up winning the game. But it still indicates that they were the better team, which they were. But Bournemouth managed to get away with a win. And yeah, I actually want to talk a bit about the offside rule here, because I find it pretty ridiculous. So Bournemouth had a player who was miles offside.
Yeah. So their goal, Gosling's goal.
Yeah, on Gosling's goal. And the referees are judging this to be a player who is not interfering with the goal. But he's in the center of the pitch. He's in front of the goalkeeper, so somehow affects his view of the situation, even though that's not the biggest thing. It obviously affects the defenders because they know that he's offside, so they are going to relax a bit more because they know a player is very, very clearly offside. And then Gosling runs away, he's onside, and he scores. And I just cannot fathom how you can say that player does not interfere with the play when it's that central. One thing is if he's down by the corner flag or something, but he's in the middle of the pitch in front of goal, and 100% that makes affects both the goalkeeper coming out and also the Chelsea defenders. So I think they need to change the offside rule again and just make it super simple. If any player is offside, it's offside. That's how it should be.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the rule. I'm not going to lie. I do like the rule. I think I mean, he was impeding slightly. Like he was just an annoyance, I guess. Like just the position he was in. But I don't know. I like that the goal was actually ruled in, mate. I have to disagree with you here.
Yeah, that's love.
It's a
free world.
Yeah, I'm allowed to have an opinion on this podcast. No, I think that I don't think it impeded the defenders too much. I have to disagree, and I think it was good. Maybe I'm just being biased because I like seeing Chelsea lose, but no, I thought it was a pretty fair goal, to be honest.
All right. Yeah, and also Bournemouth had the worst injury crisis ever before the game with Wilson and injured against Liverpool. For some reason, Harry Wilson wasn't even in the squad, so I assume he was injured too. Luckily, Joshua King was back from injury, and then he got injured again. So it's just, them managing to pull off a win with half a team, and then getting the best or second best striker injured again is just. They
were at $10 or $11 odds going to that game to win, and I was looking at it, I was like, oh my God, how are they so high? Like Chelsea aren't playing that well. And then I was like, oh, that's right. They're missing half their team. Yeah. So that kind of makes sense.
And then they bring on Dom Solanke, who just looks like a fish on land again. I feel a bit bad for him. I thought he looked promising at times in Liverpool, but one goal in 50 plus Premier League games doesn't look too good for him. So
yeah, no, it'll be it's a great turnaround for Bournemouth, mate. But we can move on. Yep. Want to talk about the Champions League, mate? Big into the group stage last week. So I'll run through the teams that got through. It's pretty obvious by now, but PSG, Real Madrid, Bayern, Tottenham, Man City, Atlanta getting through, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, that was the very surprising part because they've been bottom of that group. All along. I mean, they were expected to progress as the second best team in the group. But they were so close to going out, and then they won away in the last game and managed to pull it off. Yeah, massive.
So Juventus, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, Napoli, Barcelona and Dortmund got through in the group of death. So Inter Milan didn't make it through. RB Leipzig, Lyon snuck through in Group G.
Benfica managed to claim the Europa League spot ahead of Zenit. So
it's massive. And then finally Valencia and Chelsea got through. But I think the most interesting part out of all of this is that Group H, Ajax are now in the Europa League.
Yeah, didn't see that coming before the week. So very surprising.
Not good news for the likes of Man United and Arsenal.
Yeah, but Valencia have a good team. So well played to them. They played good against Chelsea in those games. Yeah, and they managed to win the group in the end.
Yeah, no, it's very good from Valencia. Well done to them. So we're just looking at the names now that look like they'll be the biggest threat in the Europa League or a chance at taking that out.
Inter Milan to win it. That's a fearless prediction I made.
Yeah, that's your call. Yeah, but I think Ajax might cause some trouble to that. Yeah. You've got Red Bull. They've been playing excellently, so you've got to have them maybe messing things up a bit.
Yeah, they will be losing most likely Minamino to Liverpool and possibly Haaland too.
Yeah, true.
So, which could ruin their chances. But Bayer Leverkusen have a pretty good team, so they could make it at least into the later rounds. I think with Chelsea making it through, I mean, they finished second in a group now, so they're likely to draw a pretty good team. Yeah. So most likely this Champions League participation won't affect their league results for that much longer, because if they draw a big team, they're highly likely to go out. Of course. So let's just see. I mean, they can't face Liverpool City because they're English. Look at these. So they can meet PSG, Bayern,
Man City,
Juventus, Barcelona, or Leipzig. So I guess it's only Leipzig there. I would not consider them to be huge underdogs against. So it is highly likely that they will only get 2 more games and then they get the added millions from making it through. So I guess overall it was good. But
Yeah, so you've got, you'd have to say, just to summarise, you've got Inter Milan and Ajax are going to be the 2 biggest threats to the Europa League title for the likes of Arsenal, Man United, Wolves too. I think Roma are in there in the Europa League.
They're having a good season. So
They only just snuck through Roma, actually, in the Europa League. So, it'll be fun to watch that. When that kicks off in, February again?
I think it's early February that the tournament start back up. So until then, we'll enjoy league football and no international football. That's the most important part.
How good is that?
All right. So, not an interesting result. Leicester played a draw this weekend.
Yeah.
And that expanded the league lead to Liverpool to 10 points.
Yep.
Looks pretty good for Liverpool now.
Yeah, it is looking very good, obviously, mate. Yeah, Leicester got a draw. I mean, they're having an incredible season. You can't really... I don't know if you can read too much into the result. I just think that maybe just 1 week they were off. Maybe the schedule got to them a bit.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, mate. We'll see. We'll see what happens. They are coming up against Everton in the League Cup midweek, and then they have Man City.
And then they have Liverpool.
Exactly. So they're 3 huge games in a row. So I think we can judge them a bit more after that. But to be honest, even if they lost all those games, they're still having a superb season.
Yeah. And after that, they will have played all of the teams too.
Yep.
So... halfway. That's a good point to judge when you play against everyone.
Yeah. No, I can't. I can't wait to watch that Boxing Day game. Leicester. Who's at home for that one?
Ooh,
I'll have to look it up.
I think it's Leicester because I'm pretty sure we played. I'm pretty sure we won at home against them.
Yeah, so... Yeah, Leicester at home.
Yeah.
Love it. That makes it better. Because if it was Anfield, then you'd think definitely Liverpool get the money. But
I'm actually pretty happy that we're playing away because Leicester can't go 11 man behind the ball.
Yeah.
They can't park the bus at home.
Yeah.
Not that I really think that Brendan Rodgers would park the bus anyway, but I think it serves us well because we can counter-attack a bit more than what we have to do at home.
Yeah. No, cool, mate. Looking forward to that one. We'll move on to something that got us fired up from the weekend. For me, it's... it's not really from the weekend. It's kind of just a reoccurring theme I just see over and over. It's diving. I'm so sick of it. I hate diving. I think it's the worst part of football, in my opinion. I just think it's good that they give yellow cards out, obviously, for people that dive, but they miss so many. They miss so many dives in terms of not giving them yellow cards. And I think in the Premier League especially, you've got the likes of VAR that have come in.
Yeah.
Why not? Don't tell VAR to stop the game. Be like, hey, can you check that one out and see if it was a dive or not? I think
and
VAR...
then just tell the referee so he can book the player on the next occasion.
Yeah, I think they look at the footage while the game's going on and be like, for example, Guendouzi, the last 2 games he's played for Arsenal have just... He's a terrible diver and I hate it.
Oh, it was that when he fell over in the box.
Yeah, there was that one, obviously.
Yeah.
But
did he kick the ground or was it a dive?
He got literally touched on the foot and then he dived. But it was worse if you'd watched the Europa League game against Standard Liège on Thursday. It was pathetic. I hate it so much. I hate it when my own player does it because it's just pathetic. But anyway... Yeah, and I think it's something that, while the game's going on, VAR could just look at it and be like, that is a terrible, obvious dive. And I would not be adverse to, if it's a really, really bad dive, a really obvious one, to giving him a red because I hate it so much. I'd love to see it stamped out of the game. And I think a red card is one of the best ways to get rid of it.
I think... this is has something to do with you coming from the Commonwealth, where you have this this big notion of chivalry and sportsmanship, and everything should be fair. But let me just start off with the red card one because I think that one's the easiest. If you give a red card for diving, then you are putting it in the same category as a bad tackle, which can injure an opposing player. And I think that is a total mismatch in terms of consequence of the foul. So I definitely think it should be yellow. That's the first. The second part, this is going to be a bit controversial, but I think diving is totally fine.
Oh, God.
I think it is, you should go out there and you should use any means necessary to win the football game besides injuring opposing players. That's the one thing I think is shouldn't be allowed. And that is something that also very much got me upset when Suarez had that whole, I don't know how many games he got for biting the opposing players or whatever. Because, some people argue that biting another human can kill you because you can get an infection and disease. But, like, seriously, would you rather have someone, like, bite your skin a little bit and not even break the skin so you start bleeding? Or would you have someone tackling you in 100 kilometers an hour in knee height and breaking your leg off? Because there's no player in the history of the Premier League who's gotten a ban for as long as Suarez have for a leg-breaking tackle. So you could argue it's a part of the game that, injuries happen, but there's so many tackles which are just on purpose. Chaudhry had one against Salah when we last played Leicester, which injured him and affected him. He still kept on playing for a couple of games, but he was nowhere near himself because he was struggling with that injury. He had fluid in his ankle, which you need to drain before the games and after the games and everything. So I would very much prefer that more penalties are given to players who do reckless and dangerous tackles, which injures the opposing team. And culturally, diving is pretty much accepted in this Latin American countries and in Italy. They just want to win. They want to do anything they can possibly do to win, and that's what Suarez always did and still does, regardless of which team he plays against. He was an absolutely horrible player against us in the Champions League last year when he intentionally kicked Robertson, so he got injured. Which he got away with, and doing that against your old club I found annoying, but I can still accept it because Suarez just does whatever Suarez does to win football games, and I respect that. So it is also a matter of culture, and I don't really think that one can. I mean, it is the English league, so obviously they should set the rules as how they want them to be refereed, but I don't think you can get upset when players from other cultures especially don't adhere to the same moral codes. So I think diving is fine, and it should be penalized, of course, but I don't think we can get upset with players for diving because they're trying to win football games. And the thing that upsets me, if you want to get rid of diving, then you also need to start giving penalties when players stay on their feet, because that never ever happens. And if you don't go down, you don't get a penalty. The media is always focusing on Mane or Salah when they go to ground easily, usually after being actually kicked, which is talked about too much. But they never ever highlight the times they stay on their feet and they don't get a penalty.
Yeah, I think that's a refereeing problem. Referees should be able to notice, I think, when someone's trying to stay on their feet, but they have been fouled.
Yeah.
And it seemed like from when I started watching football, it seemed like that was a bigger occurrence, was people trying their best to stay on their feet and only going down if, yes, they were fouled.
Yeah.
But I think it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And even though they brought in those, it's only been recently that they brought in a yellow for diving, and I have not seen an improvement. If anything, I think it's gotten worse. And I think, okay, maybe not a red card, maybe that's too much, but I think that if you have VAR, I'd love that if they could go back while the game's going on, let the game keep playing. We don't want more stoppages. If they can go back and review just certain dives, really obvious ones, they're the ones that we need to get rid of.
Yeah.
Obviously, people, make it a bit more theatrical when they do get touched, which doesn't really need to be changed that much, but if it's literally the person hasn't been touched and they're rolling on the ground they've been sniped.
Those are the ones you should get rid of. But over-exaggerating fouls, I think is okay because you need to do that to get penalties. Yeah. But I do agree. Those are pretty unnecessary.
Yeah, it probably is a cultural thing, mate, because I can't stand. I grew up watching rugby, so when I see all these, I'm like, mate, you have got to be kidding me. You should have.
I played rugby,
the first time I ever watched a game of football, a lot of my mates back home were just don't watch football because it's the diving is just so pathetic and it's just a completely different game. So I don't know. I hate it, but whatever.
Yeah, on rugby, you don't go down even if you have 10 men dragging you towards the ground. You stay on your feet.
Never, mate, never. But, mate, what got you fired up?
Yeah, so there's one more thing that I remembered now that you were talking about the diving and all of it, and that is also the media narrative around it. Because all the British players just get away with it so much easier than what the foreign players are. If you look at the people who get the most yellow cards for diving, then like the top 5 in the last couple of years are all English. And yet, whenever they go down, it's like, yeah, he goes down a bit easy there, but it's never like, that's a dive. And when Mane, like that one situation earlier this year, when he was accused of diving, and the replays clearly showed that the opposing player kicked him in his feet. There was no mention about the player kicking him in the feet. It wasn't shown on like the Sky Sports highlights or whatever.
Yeah.
And the media narrative was just like, oh, Mane dived. And it's just really unfair that the foreign players are treated differently, because the narrative is always out. The British, they don't really dive, yet they get the most yellow cards for diving. But the foreign players, they're all the divers. And that needs to change and be brought into the media. And there should be a big debate about it, why it is like that, because it's not fun. Also, like the referee in the Liverpool game, and it kind of annoyed me, but it's not a big thing, so I'm not gonna complain too much about it. But it's just, it seems like they give the underdogs so much more leeway that they can just keep on like fouling players, and as soon as like Liverpool makes one foul, they get a yellow card. And I just think like every team should sort of be playing at refereed equally, because that's another thing. Like Liverpool, despite having the ball so much more than the other teams, despite having so many more touches in the box, they still get more penalties against them than what they get for. So it's especially at Anfield. So it's just very weird that the game doesn't seem to be equal for the teams. But yeah, that's a small thing. And then I also didn't like the VAR stuff again on Mane's offside goal, because the first photos that were shown, like he's onside even on the lines, and then they somehow are able to draw a new line which puts his hip offside or some stupid stuff like that, which is handmade with a very thick line. So it's just, if it's a computer making the call, I don't mind if it's a millimeter offside, but when it's so dubious, like, give the advantage to the attacking team and give a goal. We want more goals in football and not less. So yeah, not a big thing. I mean, we won. It didn't matter too much.
Top of the league, mate. Come on, stop whinging.
Yeah. But I still think there's improvements with VAR.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay, we have made it to our Trading Places segment, which is always quite fun. And I really like the topics we have this week. So...
Scandinavian themes.
So, Alex, if you were Christian Eriksen, your contract is expiring. Where do you go? What do you do next? And do you leave in January to secure Tottenham a bit of a fee, or do you wait until the summer when you can cash in a big sign-on fee yourself?
Yeah, I just looked up how old he was. I thought he was in his 30s, mate. He looks a lot older than he is.
Yeah.
But, 27. You probably want to move on if you're Christian Eriksen, I think.
Yeah.
That seems the most logical thing to do. You've got a way better chance at winning trophies elsewhere. Where you want to go, I mean, it depends who wants you. I don't know.
Who do you think want him?
I mean, I can't see Liverpool or Man City wanting him. I don't think he brings much to them, like that they already have. So where else could he go? There was lots of talk, I think it was Real Madrid, wasn't it, over the summer?
Yeah.
I'd probably go there if they were wanting me. I don't see who else would really want him. I mean, he's a great player. But
Barcelona?
Yeah, but he's not that like next level, like world. Is he a world-class player? Like
at his best, I would say so. Like he is the light version of Kevin De Bruyne. Maybe doesn't have as much power in this game, but he has an amazing foot. Plays the assists, scores some long-range goals.
Yeah.
Still only 27, which was surprising. So De Bruyne is actually older than him.
Yeah. I mean, if I was him, short way of saying is I would move, whether it's January or summer, probably the summer.
Yeah.
Finish another season with Tottenham. I reckon he enjoys his time at Tottenham for the most part. Jose Mourinho's sprung, some sort of revival there, and just stay for the odd chance that they might win the FA Cup, or they're still in the. No, they're not in the Carabao Cup. They might win the FA Cup. I mean, I highly doubtful they win the Champions League, but yeah, stay on till the summer. There's no rush to get to Real Madrid at the moment. They're not doing well, so
yeah. I mean, the main reason for him potentially leaving sooner is because he hasn't been starting every week, which I assume is over the contract issue. And that would also give Tottenham a bit of a transfer fee, which could be a nice thing to do after you spent so many years there, and be nice to the club. But I mean, he's going very likely to go in the summer when he gets that money himself instead.
Yeah.
Juve have been the team who's signed everyone who's good ever on free transfers for the last 10 years. So most likely, or that is a very likely scenario I could see. I definitely think that they would want him, especially when he's on a free, because it's just it's so good with regards to the financial write-offs of the players, because with the FFP and everything, it is extremely beneficial to get players on free transfers. And you can sell them for a profit. It's just so much good stuff by doing it, and this is what has allowed Juve to pay for Ronaldo's salaries and bring him to the club. It's because they made so many smart moves like this, so then they can afford to spend more money on the very expensive signings that they make. Same with the Higuain buy when they did that. So I think Juve is a very likely destination. I could also see Barcelona as a logical one. I think he's good enough. And Barcelona's midfield was Rakitic, Sergio Busquets, and Frenkie de Jong. I could very easily see Eriksen coming in there to replace Rakitic.
Yeah.
And on the bench, they have, Vidal, he's old.
Yeah.
So I know there's a couple of more midfielders in their squad, but I could very, very well see him moving and fitting in into Barcelona. So I think that's very likely. I would assume that, because I think Pogba is going to Madrid, so I don't think he's going to go there. And then Manchester United will have a hole in their midfield, but I can't really see him moving from Tottenham to a different club outside of the Champions League when he can do that, even if the money is big. So I don't think that is very likely to happen. If I was Liverpool, I would actually be interested, just because he's free and he's a very good player. That's a pretty good combo, but I still find it unlikely, because the one thing that could take this team to another level is to have an even more creative offensive player in midfield who can also press. And Eriksen has played for some very well pressing Pochettino teams, even though he's most likely not the guy leading the press. He's still capable of playing in those teams, so it could be interesting. And Klopp likes value signings, but I find it's a long shot. It is a long shot, and I think Barcelona is the most likely place he'll end up. Barcelona or Juve.
Okay, cool, mate. And you are, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name well. Is it Erling Haaland?
Yeah, Haaland.
That's all right. So he's the Norwegian striker that's been scoring goals in the Champions League and in the local league for Red Bull Salzburg. If you were him, mate, what do you do? Do you want to stay, go? And if you did want to go, where do you go?
I don't remember if it was a hat-trick. I think it was a hat-trick. The number of players who scored hat-trick as a teenager in the Champions League was 5 players. Raul being one of them that I remember. Balotelli also did it, I think. So not everyone who does it turns out good. But Haaland also broke some other records, and he scored 8 goals, I think, in total in the Champions League. Scored in 5 games in a row. So many records to be breaking as a teenager, and he's not even playing for Barcelona, but he's playing for Salzburg, who didn't go through to the next round. I think this is going to be an absolutely sensational player. I think he has the potential to be the best forward in the world, because he has that combination of pace, power, and finishing ability. His technique is good. It's not as amazing as some of his other skills, but his finishing and everything is just absolutely insane. And I think he's going to be one of the world's absolutely best forwards. He's being represented now by his father and helped also by Raiola. So someone's taking an interest.
Yeah.
And rumors from Austria have it that he actually has a buyout clause in his contract, which is only 20 million euros.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see whether that's true, because if so, any team should pay those 20 million euros right now.
Yeah, no, it is. It's definitely true, because Red Bull Salzburg have a system where they don't want to limit players. They actually like seeing them go out, and they think it works both ways, because if they like to get young players and develop them, and young players are only going to come to their club if they have this release clause that's quite low, so it actually allows them to leave. So that's actually a thing that their club works towards, having small buyout clauses, so they do get something, but it doesn't limit them from moving on.
Yeah, I mean, if the buyout clause is there, then they can't really do too much.
No.
And I would totally expect, if he got advice from Raiola, which was also rumored before he went there, that he's the kind of guy who would put that kind of clause into the contract. If he didn't have it, I would totally expect him to be transferred to Red Bull or Rasenballsport Leipzig, because that's the way I think that they want to do things. Use Salzburg as sort of the farmer team, and then when the players are good, they move them on to Leipzig. But with the clause, it's a bit more tricky. And at Leipzig, because apparently he visited both Dortmund and Leipzig during the week, and Solskjaer flew to Salzburg to visit him there. So it seems like those are the three likely destinations. And then I think it's pretty tricky. I would be overall, I think Leipzig could be a good place to go, because then he would most likely keep on playing. But Timo Werner, who's the striker at Leipzig, has scored a goal a game this season.
Yeah, no, it's good.
So unless he goes in the summer, he has been rumored to Liverpool in the past. We'll see. But if he doesn't go, then he's not going to replace a striker who's scoring a goal a game. Maybe they can play with two, but most likely they have to fit it around. At Dortmund, he would be competing with Alsacer, which he could replace, but he's scoring goals too. And Dortmund, at least even though they don't maybe have that many options as the center forward, they do have a lot of very, very talented forwards, which would eat into his game time. And then Manchester United, I mean, they have Rashford and Martial, who are both very good. And Mason Greenwood is looking like he's wanting to have some minutes. Daniel James is not at the same level as the first two, but he's still had a pretty decent season, scoring goals and extremely fast. So it's no matter which option he chooses, I'm not certain that he will be the first choice if he goes there. So I would definitely wait until the summer with moving. I wouldn't move in January, because you're not going to be the first choice wherever you go. So better to play every single week than in Austria for the next 6 months. I think that will make you improve more as a player. And then make a decision in the summer when you can see fully all of the teams which are interested. And I really hope that Liverpool buy him, but I do find it unlikely.
I wouldn't mind even him saying stay past the summer at Red Bull. Yeah. I think he's so young. The more football he gets, the better. Just give him time, especially if he goes to somewhere like Man United. It's such a risky move, not just because there's so much competition you have, but Man United aren't doing well. It could ruin his career just on the fact that Man United aren't playing well. So just give him time, at least till the summer. If not, I'd be more than happy to see him stay at Red Bull for another season. And I don't know how much football he's played before this season, but he's young, mate. Just get those kilometres under your legs before putting more pressure on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, he scored 7 goals in 2 games against my local team one in the Norwegian top division when he was 16 years old.
Yeah.
So he's already been playing for some time, but it's so important to keep playing and not being stuck on the bench, because that just happens to so many young players. And that should be his number one concern now. If he's going to move to a better club where he's going to play every single week.
Yeah, definitely.
And he could be tempted to go play for Solskjaer, as he's coached him before at Molde. But I would not move to Manchester United if I was him.
Not now, at least.
Yeah, I mean, you can always do that later in your career.
Yeah.
I think in terms of development, then Dortmund and Leipzig are both some pretty good places to go.
Yeah.
And I would expect that overall the competition is less in Leipzig. So I would angle towards Leipzig because they probably tell him if Werner is likely to move in the summer and tell him how much game time he's going to get. And Dortmund's is a pretty good option too. So like either of those would be fine, and go with one of those for the better of your career. And then you can always move to Manchester United later if that's where you want to end up.
Yeah, cool, mate. Well, let's finish up there with our trading places. Be interesting to see what happens with both those players. And we'll finish up with our quiz question of the week. So the answer, do you want to have a guess, mate? So who won the 09-10 season? This is back a decade ago. Who won and who made the top 4, do you reckon? Go for an order too, if you like, in the top 4.
Okay, so I know Manchester United won 08-09 because they beat us. Did they win it 2 years in a row, or did Chelsea move in? It was definitely not City because they won later, I think, and definitely not Arsenal because they haven't won since before that.
Ease up, mate. Ease up.
It could have been Chelsea weren't that good then.
Let me just say, there's 1 point separating first and second.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I know it's pretty even. I'm gonna go with Manchester United again.
Shocking, mate. You got it wrong.
I did?
It was Chelsea. I actually got this one right. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, okay.
Chelsea finished on top. Next was Man United, obviously. And who do you reckon came third and fourth?
Chelsea, Arsenal. No, yeah. You already said also. So Arsenal, definitely. And
fourth place is an interesting one.
And an interesting one. Was this? No, it wasn't the year Everton beat Liverpool to the top 4. An interesting one. It can't be Manchester City. Yeah.
No, Spurs.
Really?
Yeah, surprisingly. I didn't know they were actually decent back then. But yeah, they made the top 4. They probably didn't play Champions League football because it was top 3 back in those days. So anyway, there you go. There's an interesting quiz question for the week. Hope you guys enjoyed that one.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I like the tricky ones where I don't necessarily get them correct.
Yeah.
Because I hate the very easy ones. Like which years Liverpool have won the Champions League, because that one I know. Yeah, maybe edit that part out.
No one cares.
All right, so thank you guys for watching. This was another episode of the Trademate Sports Podcast where we talk about Premier League and Champions League. So if you liked this video and want us to make more videos like this, then please subscribe to our channel and give our videos a thumbs up. You can also check out our products, TradeMateSports.com and OddsHero.io. Trademate is a value betting software and OddsHero is a match betting software. And yeah, we have some tutorials on our YouTube channel also on how to use these products and why you should use them. So make sure to check out those. And thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoy it.
Cheers, guys. We won't see you for a couple of weeks either. Yeah,
so this is actually our last episode before Christmas. We'll be back probably second week of January. That's it. Merry Christmas.